So the new Model S and X refresh may bring the new models with the single screen layout that we see on the Model 3, the Model Y, and the upcoming Cybertruck. Would this be a good move? I have a pretty good perspective on both the single and dual screen setup. I'll lay out the benefits and downsides to both, and I'll talk a little bit about what I would like to see in the refresh. Welcome back to the Cobra Pit. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or a newer one like Don Durkis, I see you. I appreciate every single one of you. Now let's get to the pros and cons of Tesla's single screen and dual screen setup. Starting with the dual screens, let's start with the pros. My Model X has a larger screen at 17 inches vertical and a smaller screen behind the steering wheel. Having such a tall screen creates less clutter. Things are more spread out. There's more information that can be shown on this larger screen. The larger screen is perfect for web browsing. It's like you're holding a very large iPad in the portrait orientation. It's even nicer for navigation. You can see where you're going. You can spread it out to see how much farther away something is. You just have plenty of room to work with. And then with that second screen behind the steering wheel, you have all of the pertinent information that you need right in front of you. This is great for just looking down at the speedometer. This is a location that you're familiar with, that your eyes naturally want to go down to. And also having an autopilot there as well. All the illumination in the cabin makes it feel a little more premium, a little more luxurious. And also in this setup, the screen is recessed a bit, so it feels a little bit more protected. But there are some cons. Having two screens are great, but there are some times where there is some redundancy. Having navigation in both places can be helpful, but it's kind of a waste of space. I naturally look behind the steering wheel, which is a better location to find your directions, and it's a cleaner interface, but it's in two places. Now the dash screen is customizable, but I like having my album art right up there, which also makes it in two places, but I just like having it there. And sometimes having the same information in two places kind of gets confusing. I'll look down at the larger screen when the navigation is right in front of me and vice versa. It's sometimes, it can get a little confusing. It's not ideal for watching movies and media. There's lots of letterboxing going on, so it's a lot of wasted space on that screen. Now let's jump into the pros of the single screen setup. Everything is all in one spot. You don't have to think about, oh wait, do I look here or do I look here? It does make it a lot easier. It's super minimal, which makes it overall less distracting. Now some people might be into the minimal look. Some people might think, hey, I don't have a lot going on here, so it's less distracting. I can focus on the road and what's important. So, it's kind of a preference thing. But its biggest pro is it's excellent for watching movies, media, TV shows, and gaming. You use the whole screen. Clearly the best experience. But it's not all dandelions and roses. Is that a saying? First of all, everything is cramped. There's not enough space for all the information. And especially with the latest update, the viewing angle of the car on the road takes up just about half of the screen. So that leaves limited space for the navigation and your media or wherever else you might have on the right side of the panel. Now I imagine they widen this portion for the people that have the full self-driving. You will be able to see a whole lot more data, but I wish there was an option where I didn't have to use all of that screen. There's also a slight head turn when you want to look down and see how fast you're going or any of the information on there. Some people big deal it. To me, it's not a big deal. You get used to it once it's there, but you have to take your eyes off the road for a second anyway to check your speed and all the driving information. What I really don't like is how far it sticks out from the dash. It seems more vulnerable to damage, more susceptible for getting hit and cracked. I do have a screen protector on it, but I just don't like the feeling of it. And if this screen goes out, this single screen, that's all you have. it's blank. I did reset the screen while driving because it was non-responsive. It came back on maybe in about 45 seconds, but that's 45 seconds of not having any information. No speedometer, no information at all. So I just drove the best I could using all my years of experience. And another very subjective thing, having all that dark, empty space behind the steering wheel. It freaks some people out. It freaked me out at first too, because you know, naturally you look down and you don't see anything. You're like, oh, okay, it's just right here. So it does take some getting used to. So if it comes down to my personal choice, I want them to keep the dual screens, at least in the more premium vehicles. I love having the option of customizing the panel behind the steering wheel, having what I need right then and there. And like I said, personally, I feel like it gives it a much more luxurious premium feel. Having so many screens, having so many lights, it just looks better to me. Now, things I would change in a refresh is the overall look, the overall feeling of being in a cabin. It's pretty outdated. It's the same one they've had for years, but you could add some more premium touches. Now, I'm not talking about buttons. That's a whole nother video coming later. But little things here and there, I'm not quite sure, but you can tell the difference of being in a Tesla and maybe a BMW or a Range Rover. There is a difference. Now, the minimal look is Tesla's signature, but you can still make it feel a little more premium with that minimal look. So, you know, I'm not an engineer or anything, but I hope they have something worked up. So tell me your thoughts on the dual screen versus single screen. They're both nice. They both have their pros and cons. Tell me what you think. If you enjoyed this video, show some love, and don't forget, Cobra told you. All right, y'all.